Hey guys, welcome back. In the previous video, we saw how we can publish our test runs meta information on localhost Elastic instance. But I did not publish the duration information because it was a little bit more trickier to get, and I did not want to increase the scope of previous video, adding that information. So in this video, what we're going to do is also add that missing information about test duration, so that we can see not just the project name, test class, test name, etc., but we can also see how long did each test takes to run. Now I will follow the same approach. Like I could either write the code line by line, but that would make this video very long, and I think already these videos are becoming pretty long. So what I will do is I will copy paste the solution from my previous project, and I will explain you what I have done and why I have done it, right? So with this, let's go back to the project. So what we need to do now is, similar to a reporting extension, we also need an extension to calculate the time. So I will call it a timing extension, and the code that I'm going to publish here, most of the code comes from JUnit. So for example, in this documentation, this is JUnit official documentation. If I search for timing extension dot class, let's go to the first instance, timing extension. So this is a class where they specified how you can calculate the time for each test by using before test execution callback and after test execution callback. Let me also open this page where they have explained different kind of callbacks which are available. So they're not implementing before each callback or after each callback, but they're implementing before test execution callback and after test execution callback. So these are methods which run immediately after this method and immediately before this method, right? So these are the extensions that it is implementing, and well, I'm using SLF4J, so I'm going to skip this statement. They have also got a fancy implementation to implement this. I'm going to use a little bit more simpler method to get this, but this is just to show you from where I get the majority of the idea, right? So let me show you my implementation. So let's copy the code, Control C, let's paste it here. So what I've done is, you can forget about the threading thing for now because the use case has not come yet. So I have a field variable for start time method, and what I'm doing is, so we have two methods here, before test execution and after test execution, right? Because these are two callbacks that we have got. I set the start time of the method by taking the current time in milliseconds, and then once the test is completed, I calculate the duration by saying find the duration right now, subtract it from the start time duration, divide it by 1000. Why? Because, well, the time in milliseconds is not very useful for us, because most of the time the test that you will see, it's more useful to see in terms of seconds than to see in terms of milliseconds. So that's the reason I divide by 1000. But this, I get a duration which is double, and then I print this message and I say, hey, test took these many seconds. Basically get the method name, get name. So I'm basically saying test name, this will substitute with this curly brackets, took this much duration, right? And the other methods that are specified here, these are specifically for the test execution time thread that we're setting up. So basically, one method, this two method, and this line, this will give you how much time it took for the test to complete. So now at this moment, if I just go ahead and let's go back to our test, let's run this test again. Let me show you the difference by adding this extension and by not adding this extension. So at this moment, if we run this test, you see there are not many logs here, right? Like if I click on the test sandbox, Yeah, okay, they're not too many logs. But if I extend this with, let's add another extension, and if I extend this with timing extension dot class, if I run the test again, we should see, how much time this particular test took. So it's saying the test took 0.014 seconds. Let's run it again. 0.026 seconds. So now you have this information, right? And this is a session failure because, well, it's a flaky test. It passes sometimes, it fails sometimes, right? So with this, you can capture the duration of the test. But the tricky thing is, I want to get this information of this duration, this duration inside my test run metadata, right? So how do I do this? So the way I do it is by creating a thread local instance. And in this thread local instance, I have got two methods. One is to get the test execution time thread, and the other is to remove the test execution time thread. Now, why do I also care about removing? Because, well, this is what any thread local implementation suggests us to do. It says, please don't leave the threads hanging. Please close them, once you're done with them. So that's the reason I create this method as well. And after test execution, once we have got the duration received, then I can set the test execution time thread to this particular value, right? And once I've set it, now I can get it and I can remove it once my job is done. So let's go back to test run metadata class. I have enabled it again. I'm enabling the method again. And if we enable this method, basically what I was doing was I was saying from timing extension, get me this test execution time thread value, right? And if this value is more than 5 seconds, then print the value, but also print this alarm icon next to it, which is what, by the way, you see with slow test cases like this. But if it is not more than equal to 5, then just print the value in form of string, right? And then you can also print the duration if you want to, like, publish it. So with this, let's run the test again and let's see what happens. So even though, guys, like when I copy pasted the code and I'm just explaining the code, it took me eight minutes, more than 8 minutes. So that's the reason, I think copy pasting code and explaining what I've done and why I've done is a better approach than, trying to write everything line by line. If I refresh, I do not see the field yet because I've not yet added this field. So let's add this field. And now with this addition, let's see, let's go up. We can also see the time in seconds. And if you want to like move this field to left, you can do that. So if I click here, I want to move, maybe let's test name, status, reason, and then how much time it took, right? So with this, we have seen, let me zoom out a little bit. With this, we have seen, how you can install a local instance. We have seen how you can publish the results. We have even seen how we can publish the, how we can even publish the duration. So thanks again, guys, if you have seen so far, like, thank you for hanging in, and I hope you are finding this videos useful. And if you find test monitoring useful, please implement it in your own projects. In the next video, I will show how to create a test based class, and then in the next videos, I can show you, how to run Elastic on a cloud, or how to run Elastic on your local instance, but with a secure setup and not with an HTTP protocol, right? So thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers. Bye-bye.